Hey guys, what's going on? Figured I'd make a little video here on my way home. It's Friday, September 16th, and it's about 6:30 in the afternoon, and I'm not too far from the house. I'm about 20-25 minutes. Just had to put in a reversing valve and a outdoor TXV. Guys, I had to make a video today about it because it's been basically just upsetting me. I don't know if you guys know, I don't know if I mentioned the other videos, but the company that I work for now, we mainly deal with Lennox and Trane. But let me tell you, Trane has been crapping on the little guy, and when I mean little guy, I mean small companies or non-Trane premier dealers. Let me tell you what happened. I had 2 service calls this week. Both of those service calls were commercial. One was well, it was actually a residential unit in a commercial application. It was a 3.5 ton Trane heat pump, and twice already this year we've had to add a couple pounds of R22. Well, I did a leak search the first or second time around, and I found the Schrader cores leaking, swapped out the cores, everything's good. Well, I did another leak search this week when they called us back that it wasn't cooling and the unit was iced up, and I found the evaporator coil leaking. So I called Trane, and mind you, this is a 3.5 ton upflow air handler. Nothing special. Trane was gonna quote us or charge us $895 plus tax plus $25 shipping, because they had to get it from the factory. They didn't have it locally here in Atlanta. $895 for a stinking 3.5 ton A-frame evaporator coil that slides in and out of an air handler. I mean, easy coil. So you can imagine the system is let's see, I think the system is about 15-16 years old. I think it's a 2000. So it's not very old. I mean, it has some age on it, of course, but it's not like, you know, it's a 25-30-year-old system. It's a fairly good quality system. It's just the coil has a leak. $895 now. I'm not going to mention how much we quoted, obviously, but you can imagine by the time any company marks up the coil, because you're not going to sell the coil for as is, clearly, and throw in your labor and miscellaneous materials, it's going to get pretty pricey. And you know, it's ridiculous how Trane just keeps crapping on contractors. I bet you if I was a premier Trane dealer, I guarantee you my price would be a third, maybe even less. But the fact that, you know, this company doesn't sell, you know, $100,000 worth of Trane equipment a year for 3 or 4 years straight to become premier, they just keep crapping on you with these pricing. It's ridiculous, you know. So that was one call. The other call was we got an account at a huge commercial building, and they got about a couple dozen real big, you know, some of them are 30 ton, some of them are 15 ton Trane Voyager units. And these Voyager units, they're tied into well, half of the building's tied into a tracker automation control. The other half is onto a tracer with, you know, a dozen or so PIU boxes and all that good stuff. Anyways, Well, they had half of the building was actually being unoccupied, so the owner wanted us to come out there and give them a list of repairs and all that to see how much it would cost to get those systems up and running. And I found there was two 30-ton units that were, somebody snatched all the wires out before we picked up the contract. There's a couple grounded compressors. There's a couple missing blower motors. Now, mind you, these blower motors are VFD motors. They're not typical three-phase, single speed or two-speed fan motors. This is they run off of a VFD drive and a controller. So I haven't even called them to figure out what the price is on that. Nobody knows. There's no telling how much that motor is going to cost. Especially if they're charging us $900 for a stinking 3.5-ton coil. Anyways, so what pissed me off was I called Trane to get with some type of tech support, and there's a couple guys here locally that will give you technical assistance, but they kind of specialize with the residential and light commercial stuff. They tell you anything above 15 tons, they don't handle. They won't even give you the time of day. They give you all these different 188 numbers to contact Trane tech support. And those guys are even worse. If you're not a premier dealer or an actual, a guy that works for Trane, they'll hang up the phone. They've done it to me before in the past. And no matter what, I needed some help because one of the units had what seemed like a bad VFD drive, and the controller for that drive was blank, and I was getting what looked like sufficient voltage going to power up the drive, but the drive was it was locked out on an alert LED, and if you reset it, doesn't matter what you do, it never changed. It never started up the blower motor. So I figured the VFD drive was bad, but I wanted to confirm, especially, I wouldn't want to swap out a VFD drive and it not be the issue. So I just needed, quick assistance to quickly troubleshoot the drive. Well, they couldn't help me. They had me bouncing from phone number to phone number, forward me to this guy to that guy, and just basically tell me at the end, when you call that 188 number, they'll tell you, call your local Trane rep, which they don't do commercial. They don't do anything past 15 or 20 tons. So it's just, I've never had that issue with Lennox. Some guys like to bag on Lennox for whatever reason. That's fine. But let me tell you something. Lennox technical support, in my experience, have been top-notch, top-of-the-line technical assistance. Carrier's pretty good with our local distributor, and even Goodman's pretty good. But Trane, they just don't give a crap about the little guy, the small contractors. They won't they will not give you the time of day. It may just be the fact that they want the job, and they're hoping that the owner of the company sends one of their guys out there, which is complete crap. Because the funny thing is about that same exact account, the reason why we even got that is because the owner sent Trane. He actually called the Trane guys out there, and the guy diagnosed on one of the larger 30-ton units. He diagnosed one of the compressors were bad. He said it was a failed compressor. He gave the guy a quote to replace the compressor, which was like, mega money, obviously. And he recommended replacement of the whole equipment. He was pushing for equipment replacement. So the guy called us in, and what I found out was circuit 2 compressor wasn't coming on because the target supply air temperature was set to 60. It was like 60 or 65 degrees. It was set kind of high. So with one compressor, the unit was able to maintain between 60 and 65. Well, on a 95-degree day in that building, they needed 50, 55-degree air to really cool the space. So I adjusted the parameters on the tracer on the the computer to 55 target supply air temperature, and second stage compressor kicked on. Yet he lied. He said that the compressor was bad. That just goes to show you that. And he charged the guy an arm and a leg. Obviously, I can't remember exactly how much the guy told me it was, but it was a lot of money. So anyways, Trane just, like I said, I like their equipment, especially the commercial stuff, and I've been a little more familiarized with the residential line since I've been working with this company, and it's good stuff. But they need to really work on helping out the smaller contractors with parts like that coil. I mean, $900 for a coil, you freaking kidding me? That's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And their technical assistance is just piss poor. It's beyond subpar. So I don't know, just a little venting session there. I'm probably gonna get smoked by a bunch of Trane supporters, and that's fine. And like I said, I do like them. It's just if you're not a premier dealer, they just crap on you. They don't give you the time of day for anything. So nor do they compete on parts and pricing on parts and stuff. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap up. The video came out a lot longer than what I was initially trying to do it for, but hopefully I have a couple videos I need to load up on a couple service calls I've done. It's been pretty busy. It's starting to slow down a little bit right now. We'll have a week that's slow and another week that picks up. Nothing spectacular has really happened. It's just your typical service calls. But anyways, hopefully if I come across some more interesting calls, I will be able to record it. I got a new phone here that has a far better camera than what my other phone had, so hopefully the quality is better. Anyways, guys, see you on the next one.